Jesse McAnally.
And I'm Andrew DeWolf.
And welcome to Musicals with Cheese, a podcast where I try to get Andrew like musical theater. How are you doing today, Andrew?
Oh, I am doing just fantastic.
Holy shit. I did not expect that reaction. I'm not gonna... It shocked me.
It shocked you?
Yeah, a little bit.
Okay, well...
What makes you so good? Why are you doing so good?
Well, I just got fired from my job because the owner of the business sold it so they could get their daughter to go to college again. And, you know, I'm feeling really good about it. I'm feeling fantastic.
I mean, are you having sex with his daughter, though?
Oh, yes, of course.
Oh, okay. That explains everything. You're not going to believe what's happening in my week.
Oh, really? What's going on with you?
Remember how I was planning to go back to my home of the Dominican Republic, right?
Wait, you never told me you're from the Dominican Republic.
Oh, yeah, I totally am from the Dominican Republic. And me and, you know, the block's abuela, yeah, my cousin Sonny, we were all gonna go back, but Abuela died, and you know what? Some dude just painted her on my wall, so I guess I'm stuck here. I decided not to go.
No, that's great.
In the Heights! Cue the music, Bree!
In the Heights, I find my coffee and I go. I find my coffee and set my sights on only what I need to know. I need to know in the Heights. Money is tight, but even so, when the lights go down, I blast my radio.
So In the Heights is a musical with music, lyrics by Lin-Manuel Miranda, and a book by Kira Alegría Hudes. Based on, you know, like In the Heights, which was an original 1999 show that Lin-Manuel Miranda wrote. It opened on March 9th, 2008 at the Richard Rodgers Theater, the same theater currently playing Hamilton. Fun fact. It closed on January 9th, 2011 after 29 previews and 1,184 regular performances. It was nominated for 13 Tony Awards and won 4, including Best Musical. The plot of this musical is, in Washington Heights, neighborhood of Manhattan, a young store owner watches the joys and heartbreaks of his tight-knit community as they pass through his bodega. All right.
I feel like that's just the plot of the opening song.
Yeah. Hey, a playbill can only give you so much info, Andrew.
Okay, fair enough.
So we did things differently than we usually do this week.
Yes, we did.
So I don't know if you guys have noticed, but a film adaptation of In the Heights came out this past week. Well, currently, I guess this is coming out in July, so it will have been out but for a little while when this comes out. Sad.
You've probably already seen it.
Like a couple times, probably. It's on HBO Max. You could have watched it in a theater, watched it at home. So Andrew watched the movie first, which is something that I usually tell him not to do, but who cares? He had friends around that he wanted to watch it with, so... and the schedules didn't quite align. And I saw In the Heights back a long, long time ago, back in like 2010, a bootleg of all that. Barely any of it had retained in my head, but I know I saw it and remembered like the broad strokes of it. And then I was invited to an advanced screening of the movie, which was great, and I saw it in theaters, and it was a good movie. So the movie was more in my head, and I had forgotten most of the musical. So I rewatched the musical, and... I've got some... It's basically like we saw the movie before the musical, despite kind of not.
I mean, personally, I think the movie is better.
Ooh, that's a big thought. That is a big statement, my friend.
I'm going to say it's just better. I think it handles it better. I like the new stuff that it adds, and I love the reframing of certain aspects of the show.
I think I'm torn 50-50. There's about 50% of the musical that is not in the movie that I love and wish was in it, and there's 50% of the movie that is original to that I love, and there's 50% that I don't like, that I feel like leaving out affects the story negatively.
Can we also just say the movie is probably the best movie musical in a long time?
Can we think of another one? Can we think of another good one? Fuck. Hello Again, maybe? That was the last one I liked as much as this. And that's still not like a great movie.
This is better. This is better, though. Even with that. And even that is like... It's better than like Cats or like the movie musicals where they actively ruin it. But
I don't know, Andrew. This is going to be the year of movie musicals. This could be topped a couple times over. We got Tick, Tick, Boom coming out. We got West Side Story.
I'm not saying
Dear
it
Evan
can't be
Hansen
topped.
might. You never know.
I'm not saying it can't be topped. I'm just saying that it has topped everything before it.
Since we've started this podcast, every new movie musical, I think this is better than. I think that's a fair statement to make.
I also think it's just good, like overall, and you should have your friends watch it. I don't know.
Yes,
this
yes.
is like it's such a easy watch, and I don't know. I think it's fun.
So I had a friend of mine who's like a huge cynic about things and really doesn't like things because he's a bit of an asshole. I don't know why I'm friends with him. And it's not you, which is the weird thing.
Fuck. I think I'm a bit cynical. I don't know about full cynic though.
But they were like, I feel dubious about all these good reviews coming in for In the Heights, and I had already seen it at this point. And he's like, it just feels like white guilt, and people like talking about it. I'm like, no, it's
is that cynical or is that just racist?
It's probably racist. But we all have that one friend that won't stop talking to you.
Okay.
And like,
is he watching right now?
He might be. I don't know.
Is he in the room with us?
I highly doubt it. I highly doubt it. But the thing is, this movie is so like of quality that I can't imagine anyone having an intense negative reaction to it.
Well, racists, but
or people calling out.
probably it.
There is some controversy about the movie that we will address later, briefly, but we will address it. I have thoughts, but not too many. But Andrew, let's start with the Broadway musical. As backwards ass as that feels, what is the plot of the Broadway musical in your best summation?
Sure. So you have US Navi, US Navi.
Usnavi.
How do you say it? Okay, if I have one complaint, I hate that name. I wish they didn't use it. It's very cringe how it's derived, and
Apparently, it's a fairly common thing. Like it's a common name because of that reason.
okay. I mean, I don't know. I don't like it, but that's fine. If it's a
You
common thing, that's
racist.
fine.
I knew you'd be a racist.
It's true. I mean, I'm racist against the Navy. That's fine. I have a friend
Not
in
the
the Navy.
Navy!
So Usnavi, he runs a bodega shop in Washington Heights, and you get introduced to all the characters at the beginning, which is Abuela, who is like the mother of the neighborhood, essentially. Like everyone knows her, and
Everyone calls her
Everyone
Abuela
respects
despite
her.
not being nobody's grandmother.
yeah, but everyone respects her. Everyone knows her. So
matriarch.
she's relatively important. You have Vanessa, who is his Usnavi's crush.
In the musical, that's all she is. She has nothing aside from that.
Yeah, they actually don't. She literally. Well, she works at the hair salon.
Yeah, she has a job, and she wants
She has
to
a
move.
job. Yes, and she dreams about moving, just leaving. I mean, I think the only real aspect of the dream is that she's not going to be there anymore.
Yeah, it is, and strangely enough, she has more personality despite having less character traits, if that makes sense. Like, she's a bit more of an edgy girl, the bad girl kind of type. Like, a lot of folks kind of treat her as a bit trashy, like, especially, like, Nina's daddy, like, calls her trash at one point, and she just kind of steals wine after that.
Oh yeah, and of course we have to get into that. Nina, who is everyone believes that she's going to be like the
one
one
that
who
gets
makes it out. Yep, she's going to Stanford, or she was going to Stanford. Stanford is in California,
Yes.
right? Okay. Her dad and mom,
Yeah, that's important.
parents, who run a taxi service.
Yeah, a taxi dispatch service.
Yeah. And who am I missing? Benny. Benny, who has a crush on Nina and works for the taxi service.
I wouldn't see it's a crush. It's like a love affair that continues. Like, they had it before she left, and it continues when she gets back.
Yeah, they're actually just dating. They're just dating.
But it's behind Kevin's back.
Is Kevin's the dad name?
I think
honestly,
so.
I don't
Kevin
know.
Basario, something like that.
Yeah. And then as the plot goes, I mean, Nina, it reveals to the parents that she dropped out of Stanford, and they get upset and decide they're going to sell the business.
To try to
well, the
pay the
dad
rest of
decides.
it.
the dad decides he's going to sell the business. The mother isn't for it at first, at the very least. And neither is Nina. She's like, oh, well, you shouldn't sell your business or whatever.
We should mention that her dad is basically an abusive dude. Not a good dude.
He's not a great guy. He does seem to be, like, trying, but he's obviously not very good at it. I don't know. Benny is also not in favor of them selling the business since he works there, obviously. Yeah. But he wants to open his own business, and he sees it as practice. Usnavi doesn't really have motivations other than going out with Vanessa. I also just realized I skipped over Sonny.
Yeah,
he barely exists in the stage show.
Yes, he just is a character, a goofy side character that makes jokes, and has this slight social justice bent to him.
Yeah, and by slight you mean he has one monologue in one song.
Yeah, yeah.
So Sonny's not even really worth mentioning, but we'll pretend he's there because he's important.
He's important in the movie, and that's one of the good things about the movie we'll talk about.
Yeah. Usnavi doesn't really have motivations outside he wants to go out with Vanessa, but he's afraid to ask her out, and then Sonny helps him ask her out.
Yeah.
And then they start going out, and there's a lottery ticket. Usnavi's bodega sold a winning lottery ticket, and they don't know who it was, but then it's revealed that it was the ticket that he gave to Abuela. And Abuela approaches him and is like, we should move back to the Dominican Republic. Like, we'd have a lot of fun. You know, it'd be great. The beaches are cool. And Usnavi's like, yeah, let's do that.
Then blackout. He gets a date with Vanessa, but he kind of gets try hard dude, and then a blackout happens. The entire block shut down.
Entire block shuts down. I believe this is where Abuela dies.
It takes a bit.
Yeah. But is there anything else important that happens between there?
Carnaval de Bali. No.
Okay, yeah. The characters that I haven't mentioned yet who run the beauty salon.
Yeah.
They are leaving. They leave.
Yeah. Also, Nina and Benny have sex.
Yeah.
And
then Abuela dies.
Abuela dies.
Everyone is sad. Everyone is sad. I think it's sadder in the movie, but whatever.
We'll talk, because people disagree with you. People highly disagree with you. Schaefer Ellis disagrees with you.
Well, Schaefer Ellis has been wrong in the past. His hatred of the Shrek musical is very contentious, in my opinion.
Damn.
Just saying, I don't think there's nothing wrong with the Shrek musical.
Usnavi decides he's still going to go to the Dominican Republic alone. Despite all that, he's got the $96,000 lottery ticket. Splits it between him and Sonny.
Yep. He helps Vanessa move into an apartment where she isn't in Washington Heights anymore. But then Vanessa is like, hey, you should stay because Sonny needs you. And
he needs a daddy, despite being 25. Yep. He looks like in mid-20s, mid to late 20s.
Yeah, but, and I guess that's really all it takes to convince him. And then Nina decides she's going to take the money to go back to Stanford. And the mother decides that she's okay with selling the business. And Benny doesn't get a say because he just works there.
He's just an employee. It's not like they matter.
Yeah. And then it kind of just ends.
Yeah.
I feel like the lack of Usnavi having any real motivation
or arc, he just kind of changes his mind at the end.
It just kind of hurts the show, and he didn't even like, the movie makes a very big change right from the start where he is the one who wants to move back to the Dominican Republic, and Abuela needs convincing to even consider going
because she loves her block.
In this one, it's her idea, and he's just kind of like, whatever. I mean, I guess that sounds fine. Yeah, sure. It's almost like a character with no motivation,
All right. This is going to be different from even our ones where we also cover the movie. This is basically going to be a comparison episode where throughout this entire episode we're going to be talking about the movie and the musical comparison. Andrew texted me earlier today. He's like, do I really need to watch the musical to compare this? I'm like, yes, we do. Yes, you do.
The movie is very different. I don't know. I kind of still stand by that. I think it's better. I think it flows a lot better. I think that And I know you are upset that there's certain characters that get tossed aside a little bit, but I think that it focuses on the characters that probably should have been focused on more from the beginning, because I think that they're just better.
Let's do a quick transition into the movie.
Sure.
The movie has been in development since basically the show hit Broadway in 2008. It was originally supposed to be Universal, but then they're like, who the fuck's going to go see this movie? So they sold the rights back to Lin-Manuel Miranda and back to Lin-Manuel Miranda. And then they sold the rights to the Weinstein Company in, I think, October 2017. In May of 2016. But then, Weinstein was outed as being the horrible monster he was, and then they bought back the rights and they sold it to WB. Then John M. Chu was brought on, and the film was originally supposed to come out last year, June of 2020. And then,
not a great time.
Then COVID happened and fucked that all up. And then it came out just last weekend, July 11th, or June 11th. And it's done okay, but not the gangbuster hit they were hoping for, which kind of disappoints me because I want more musicals like this, musical films like this. And here's where I have the offhand remark about the casting. The situation Lin-Manuel Miranda and the rest of the creative team is facing. And I'm only bringing this up because I have one point to make that kind of bothers me. Mm-hmm. So the film has been criticized for its casting choices, which seemingly exclude Afro-Latino actors with darker skin colors and misrepresented the demographic of Washington Heights. And then, that's a fair argument to make. Sure. But then Lin-Manuel Miranda issued an apology for it, and people are attacking Lin-Manuel Miranda. I've got a slight problem with this. Yes, Lin-Manuel Miranda is a powerful man. He is listed as a producer of this film, but...
He's not the only person making these choices, though.
He's not even the one...
he's apologizing.
Let me say this. When we talk about Cast 2019 and the casting choices of James Corden, or Les Mis 2012, and we talk about Russell Crowe and Hugh Jackman... We don't point the fingers at Alain Bobille and Claude Michel Schoenberg. We talk about Cats in the animation. We don't point fingers at Andrew Lloyd Webber. And on all of them, those people are listed as producers in the same way that Lin-Manuel Miranda is. Why aren't we pointing the finger at John M. Chu, who is the one who has final say, directorial choices? Is it just because Lin-Manuel Miranda is an easier target? Who knows?
There's some theory that if somebody apologizes for something, it's very easy to attack them because you're going to get something out of them.
You know what should have been done? PR-wise, and I am not a PR genius, and I don't have much to say about the controversy. The controversy is valid. I agree with it. Now I'm just talking PR nonsense. It shouldn't have just been Lin-Manuel Miranda apologizing. He wasn't the one that made the choices. It should be him, John M. Chu, Miss Hudes, Chiara Alegria Hudes. All of them should have come together, signed an apology together, and they post on the In the Heights movie page, like, we fucked up collectively as a team. Instead, it's Lin-Manuel Miranda coming out and saying, I fucked up as a man who did not direct this movie. And that bothers me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
It's a tough situation to be in. I don't want to contribute to it too much, though, because I know internet mobs can be...
It's just a thing to think about. A thing that bothered me, like, he didn't direct this movie. He didn't make the casting choices.
Yeah, but do we want to harass the director because he did direct the movie? I don't think so.
I'm saying
maybe
if
we
we're
go to
gonna...
the studio. You could go to the studio because WB, they probably have a lot of says on that. I don't know.
And now it's time to talk about the movie a bit. You like the movie. You think it's better than the musical.
Yes.
I think there are elements that are better than the musical in here. There's a lot of stuff I like a lot. I think just the cinematic techniques are impressive as all hell. 96,000 is one of the most amazing filmed musical theater sequences I've ever seen. That entire song is great. Piancia e Fe, which is basically Patience and Faith, that is one of the best musical theater scenes of all time, like in any musical ever. That is so incredible. However, Nina and Benny are just thrown off to the sidelines. Benny and his conflict with Nina's dad, basically non-existent. which is an important part and an important commentary on race relations between like Latin people and Black communities.
Sure. Though I would say that it's also kind of tossed to the side in the stage show as well. I don't think that gets nearly enough time.
It does, but it means more when he gets together during the blackout with Betty and they both get on the dispatch. It means throwing away their differences. And just the fact that Nina's dad just sees him as beneath his daughter, it's an interesting dynamic, and it makes Nina's dad a much more interesting character. Especially his song number where he's worried about being useless. That is also super important and reflects like how immigrants can come in here wanting to get bigger and bigger, and just that can be pressure on your children. And that was interesting. We lose a lot of those elements.
I think that there's a strong message in the movie about both the Dream Act and Dreamers and gentrification that is not nearly as strong in the stage show.
I agree.
I do appreciate. The whole aspect of him selling the business becomes a lot stronger when you realize that he's selling it to someone who's ripping off everyone in the town.
Yeah.
Like somebody who is literally gentrifying the neighborhood, and yet that's who he's being forced to sell to. And also the idea that his business is failing, and it isn't doing well. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, and the fact that we already started off with like the pressure being applied with he already sold half his business to Patrick Page.
Yeah.
That's a good addition to like have that looming there, that ticking clock.
I think the whole concept of, I've already said, Usnavi actually having a motivation to leave, which also ties into Vanessa having a motivation to leave, and then both having that same motivation to leave and both convincing each other not to leave. That's really good, and only in the movie. I think moving the song, I'm just going to say Patience and Faith because I'm not good at pronouncing Spanish. I'm sorry. Is it even Spanish? I think it is, but that song number has a lot more power when it's her, like, death number.
The last lines where she's like, and now should I stay or go, means more when it's about should I die or stick around
versus should I just leave.
Yeah. It doesn't feel like a conflict for her in the musical, in the stage musical. It feels like, yeah, I'm going to get the fuck out of here. Whereas here it's like, oh, I love my block and my people.
Like, have I finished my work here, basically.
Right. But also it cuts her out of a lot of the second act. Let me tell you why I think the movie is objectively perfect as a movie. Like, I know it sounds like I'm on the detriment side of the movie because we're having a talk about it, and I think there are good things about the musical too. It is a perfect adaptation from stage to screen. Perfect as it can be. Because it isn't constrained by the act break the same way like something like Into the Woods is. That's a great example of why that doesn't work, where they try to turn that into a 3-act story. What they do is firmly plant Usnavi as the main character and give him a hero's journey arc. That basically he has a Luke Skywalker arc, if you think about it. He has a goal. He's like, I'm going to go out and do this thing. I'm going to put all these things in place to do these things. I'm going to meet with Sonny's dad to try to get him to go with it. I'm going to convince Grandma to do it. But in order for Abuela to want to go with it, I need to convince Sonny to want to go with it. Sonny doesn't want to go with it. It's going out, the call to adventure and trying to get the call. And then what happens in the, like, right at the middle of the film, he loses his Obi-Wan character, his guiding force, his light. They have to die, and then he has to figure out what he needs as opposed to what he wants for the rest of it without that guiding light. It is a narrative. It is a story with an arc.
And then he decides that he's going to leave, even though Sonny's not going to come with him, and he just has to go. He's just going to go. But then, at the very end, he's like, no, I shouldn't do that. You know? It's I don't know. It's really good.
Mm-hmm. And they trick you with the bait switch framing device where they make you think that he's in the Dominican Republic talking to kids, and then they're like, nope, it's just his bodega, except he made it all Dominican-y.
Which is, it's fun. It's fun to play with the audience expectations like that, because I was like, oh, so he just eventually gets there, and we're just going to watch it, because I didn't know, you know? So it's like, well, I mean, he's there now, so he must get there eventually.
I like Vanessa having a fashion, like that's what she wants to do. I like that being integrated into the final scene, and it isn't just like a spray painting of Abuela. It is like her like showing her talents and being a part of it, because she just kind of disappears after Champagne in the musical. I don't quite know if I love flashing to the future and them being married. I don't know if they're a couple meant to be married.
That kind of aspect of it feels like a movie ending, like, oh, they gotta be happy with kids, because that's what everyone has to be.
Nuclear heterosexual family!
Yeah, which you can criticize as much as you want, but I mean, that's fine. It's a movie ending.
It just makes me sad to know that, like, 10, 15 years down the road, they're in the same fucking place. She does not become a fashion designer. He does not go back or do anything. That depresses me. They just live a life, have a shitty kid, and all that.
The point of the story, though, is that they were being forced to leave. You know, Patrick Page is going to buy the whole place,
right.
So the fact that they're still there is good. Right?
You're right. You make a good point.
The gentrifiers didn't win, and Sonny is still there, even though he is a illegal immigrant. Undocumented immigrant?
I love the fact that...
if I'm using wrong terms.
Undocumented. I love the fact that Usnavi's goals is not predicated on having a bunch of money. He was going to do this anyway. The money helped, and it could have been his answer to, like, solving all of his problems, but instead he has to do the selfless thing and give it to Sonny for him to have a future. That is so much better than just like, hey, I've got money now.
The lottery ticket thing, it feels better. I don't know fully how I feel about him just kind of throwing it to Sonny to, like, do that, but it is certainly better than what they did in the stage show, which is just like, wouldn't it be cool if he just won a bunch of money? And then he did.
I agree. I don't like it. The musical, though, does... The Benny and Nina scenes are incredible in the musical. It's some of my favorite pieces in this entire story. Like, Sunrise is probably my favorite scene in the entire musical, and they just cut it in the movie because of how they changed up the structure and how they wanted Patience Fe to be during the blackout. So it'd be really weird if we cut from, like, Patience Fe and Alabanza to just meet Nina and Benny fucking.
I kind of don't care, though. I don't know. Having seen the stage show, I don't find Nina and Benny that interesting, to be honest.
It's such a cool scene where it's like a post-coital, like, Spanish lesson where he's trying to learn her culture. That's the important part, the attempt to learn their culture.
That's cool.
And from the outsider. He could have been the outsider looking in, the one person that isn't a part of the Latin community.
Cool. I don't think it's necessary for what the story in the movie is trying to tell, though. And it might even muddle it.
Well, the movie just firmly puts Usnavi as the main character. I agree. I just also think it's a give and take.
I understand. I'm not saying that there's nothing done better in the stage show. I just think if I was going to recommend this to anybody, I'd just say watch the movie.
I mean, the movie's great. The movie is a great movie. What do you think the stage show did better, if anything?
I mean, it did flesh out Nina and her family and Benny more. I mean, that is true. I mean, they completely removed the mother character from the movie.
Made her a Disney princess, killed off a parent.
Yep, they're just like, okay, bye, you're not needed. Because, I mean, realistically, they simplified that whole story arc, so they didn't need her. So. And
the dad is just much nicer, which I don't know if I like.
Well, I think he's nicer because he is now both the dad and the mom at the same time.
Yeah. And I will say the movie does give Nina a reason to want to go back to school as opposed to just like, my dad told me to, which is I want to help people like Sonny.
Yeah. Actually, I want to say I think even the Nina story you could argue is better in the movie because of that. I was honestly a little bit confused when she in the stage show was just like, I guess I have to go back to Stanford. You're right. It's like, wait, but you just said you're not going to accept the money. You're not going to do it because you don't want him to sell the business. But then she just goes and she's like, no, we should do it. You're right. And then the mom's like, okay, I guess I'm okay with the business being sold.
Agency. They give Nina agency. They give Vanessa agency.
I don't know. I think the movie just feels like it's more of a story. It feels like it had
Instead of
something
just shit happening.
It feels like it had something really to say. I don't know. I personally, I think the movie was better.
All right. I get what you're saying. I really, really do. But also, there's arguments to be made. And I don't even think I disagree with you is the problem.
Oh, come on. And those fantasy dance sequences. I mean, you can't do that
Holy
on stage.
shit.
You can't do that on
Every
stage. It's so
single one.
good. And you know what? I'm going to make an argument here. I think every movie musical should be better than the stage adaptation because movies can do more than the stage can. So I think the fact that they are not is a huge disservice to the medium.
I agree.
I think realistically, every single time a movie version of a musical gets made, you should expect it to be better than the stage adaptation.
I mean, in some cases, just some things don't adapt well. I will say that.
Well, then they shouldn't be getting adapted.
I wouldn't know the right way to adapt Les Mis.
I mean, not how they've done it.
No, definitely not how they did it, but I don't know if there's a better way I would have thought of.
I mean, honestly, if they did it how they did it, but they actually got singers to play the actors, it probably would have been really good.
But you know what? Les Mis made a lot more money than this did.
Well, this has only been out for like a week when we're talking about it right now.
Even opening weekend, it made a lot more money.
Well, people don't
Did
go
you
to
like the
theaters, though.
There is a Les Mis scene in this movie, and could you tell what it was?
I don't think I noticed. What was it?
The champagne scene. That is a literal Tom Hooper scene. It is one take done entirely live. You bet you didn't even notice.
I did not.
Because it's so effectively done. And I noticed because I'm like, man, we aren't cutting, are we? This is pretty claustrophobic.
I also really like the actual record scratch that they were able to do in the movie, which I think was cool. They didn't have
They did in the musical.
Yeah, but they didn't have a singer literally repeating it. They had an actual record player, you know?
Yeah, so they set it up a little bit.
Yeah.
Also, another thing we should bring up, I love the fact that they made Carla and Daniela lesbians in a relationship. That is a great touch. The age gap bothers me a little bit.
Yeah, what are you going to do?
Mm-hmm. And if I'm going to critique this movie a bit, it does look a little gray. The block doesn't look very colorful. It looks like just strange overcast day with gray. You could have painted it to be a little bit more bright. That's nitpicky shit, though.
Yeah. I think overall, though, it was very good, and it makes me a little bit hopeful for some of these upcoming musical movies.
Let's talk about the future here. This director has been confirmed to be directing the Wicked movie. And I was dubious when that was first announced, and then I saw this, and I saw the Patience CFA scene, and I was like, oh no, this is good. This will be fine.
I mean, if they are able to pull off this movie in this way, which I don't even think this musical is one of the best or even close to it, but this movie just makes it so good. I don't know.
It takes the content and elevates it. And it's not even a fantastical kind of musical. It's a slice of life kind of musical.
It's honestly extremely grounded, but they turn it into this fantastical thing by creating these gigantic dance scenes and I don't know how big the budget was, but it felt like a big budget thing because of how many people they had dancing and the locations that they used and the effects that they did. I don't know. It felt great.
Mm-hmm. How does this compare to something like the Rent movie, which is also very high budget, very fantastical in moments, slice of life, because this, in Lin-Manuel Miranda's own words, is his Rent, his version of Rent. Which is, and I can see that obviously, in the
not
musical,
not nearly as progressive. Say that.
It had different things to say, but
yes,
this is his version of Rent, his slice of life kind of movie. And Rent also, when adapted into a film, embraced the more fantastical elements, like the Tango Maureen type segments.
I'm gonna be fully honest. I cannot remember the Rent movie.
Nothing. Oh, Mike. I guess Patreon, we got a new commentary we've got to do.
It's been a very long time. I did watch it. I do not remember.
I know you did. We have an episode to show for it.
I don't remember it. I really don't.
I think it's time to compare our opinions to those of the New York theater critics when this first came out. It's time for Breviews, but sadly Bree isn't here. So, Andrew, time to whip out Ben Shapiro Brantley.
It's time for previews. It's time for previews.
Oh, good God. I'm losing my touch with this Ben Shapiro Brantley. All right. New York Times, Ben Brantley said of the original
2009 production.
Where is this 1997 number coming from?
That's from something else we did. I don't know.
New York Times, Ben Brantley said of the original 2009? 8?
Yeah, 2008.
2008 production. In addition to the aforementioned characters, there is Usnavi's cocky 16-year-old cousin Sonny, the implicitly funny Robin DeJesus. Is that
Jesus?
Jesus, pardon me. Eager to give Usnavi tips on how to woo the girl he's got a secret crush on. She is the ambitious Vanessa, Karen Olivio, all legs and voice, in parentheses here, whose ardent wish is to move out of the barrio. Unfortunately, she's got a mother draining her resources and a serious credit problem. The vivacious Daniela and Andrea Burns, choicely tart. I don't even know what he means by that.
Nope.
Who owns the beauty salon where Vanessa works, is on the move whether she likes it or not. Priced out of the hood, she's packing up her straighteners and moving to the Bronx.
I want to stop there. I picked that segment specifically because of the parentheses that just show kind of how sexist Ben Brantley is.
Yeah,
all
what?
legs and no.
I even got... He didn't say all legs and no voice. He said all legs and voice.
Meaning there's no personality, which I don't know if I disagree with.
Well, is he saying that about the character, or is he saying that about the actress?
That's a fair point.
Because if he's saying that about the actress, that's rude.
Yeah. Choicely tart is another one I just don't like as a description of a human being.
Yeah. All right. I mean, he's so far not inaccurate in the non-parentheses stuff. You could easily be cynical about the show's heartfelt belief in the possibility of a little love and a big lottery win making all things right. But then Mr. Miranda bounces on stage, throwing down rhymes and throwing his arms open wide, as if to embrace the whole mezzanine. He seems to embody music's ability to make the trite seem true again. And after all, this scrappy little musical about chasing your dreams and finding your true home is Mr. Miranda's own dream come true. He couldn't look more at home.
Yeah. Can we talk about Lin-Manuel Miranda's performance in the Broadway show?
It's fine.
Anthony Ramos knocks him out of the park, though. Anthony Ramos brings so much to that movie version of the character that wasn't in the script. And Lin-Manuel Miranda gives off the vibe of, like, your dad jokes friend, the guy that tells all the dad jokes.
Lin-Manuel Miranda needs to start writing more and stop acting as much.
You see, I don't think he's a bad actor when he's not doing his own shows. That's kind of the thing.
Okay. I can't remember. I think he was fine in that Mary Poppins thing.
Yeah, he wasn't the problem. He's very good as Charlie and Merrily We Roll Along. He was very good when he played Jonathan in Tick, Tick, Boom. He nails it when he's not doing his own material. But when he's in his own material, he's just playing a self-insert. Which is like, I know what you're like, Lynn. Even in Hamilton, it's just like, what if I was Hamilton? But it's just me, you know?
It's just me. I'm just doing it. I feel like he was actually pretty decent in the movie as like that jokey side character.
Piragua.
Yeah.
Guy.
I feel like he was probably better there than he was when he was actually playing the lead.
I agree. He's a lot of fun character actor that you like to see as a little jokey, fun thing. That's how I felt about him in Mary Poppins. He was not the problem in Mary Poppins Returns.
No. That movie had issues, but it wasn't him.
Yeah. I like Lin-Manuel Miranda. His voice works. I don't think he has a bad singing voice. I'm sick of people being like, "Oh, he just can't sing." No, he can sing fine. He's good. He would be great in Sondheim stuff. He is great in Sondheim stuff. He'd be a great MC in Cabaret. Like, fuck it. just when he does his own work, he gets a little lost and he can't really analyze the text since he wrote the text.
Yeah, he might have a different idea of what he intended to write versus what's actually written. So maybe that's an issue. Like, he doesn't see the character the same way everyone else does because he has all this, like, extra stuff about the character that isn't there.
I mean, Vanessa is literally his wife's name. It's a self-insert kind of story. It's impossible to be objective and to play that objectively, and that's not his fault.
Yeah.
But when he's given a character to play, he's great.
Yeah.
Stop picking on him, kids. Including myself, I guess, because I am kind of picking on him right now.
Yeah. So what do you think of this review, which just seems to be vaguely positive?
Vaguely positive. You know, it's fine. Ben Brantley, you gave a review. Good for you.
I think I agree. I mean, as far as the stage show goes, I'm also vaguely positive about it.
You know, for a musical without any arcs that's so slice of life, I am surprised it did as well as it did and got as many positive reviews as it did.
I think what I really like better about the movie is that it does make it have character arcs. I don't know.
Character arcs, it ties it all together.
If we were
women are better represented.
I think if we were just doing a show, if we were doing an episode on the stage show and that's it, I probably would be middling about this show. But the movie added a lot for me. I don't know.
You know what a better version of In the Heights is? The musical?
What?
Aside from the movie? The Band's Visit. That's another slice of life kind of musical but it has arcs and wraps it up very well.
I think it really does, in the stage show, it really does feel like nothing happens.
Yeah. Can't argue
in
that.
In the movie, you can also...
Abuela dies.
Yeah, other than that. But in the movie, you can also argue that nothing really happens, but you can't argue that the characters didn't learn anything.
Mm-hmm. So you watched the movie with a group, correct?
Yeah.
What did they all think about it? I'm curious.
Honestly, it was pretty positive. I think everybody enjoyed it. I didn't, analyze or ask, well, exactly what did you think? But yeah, overall, everyone was seeming to have a good time with it.
Okay, because I took my girlfriend to my screening. It was a free screening that I went to. And the best way to describe her is she likes musicals, but only the really good ones.
Okay. So this is a very big maybe.
Yeah. And she had not seen the stage musical. She liked Hamilton, though. Like, everyone likes fucking Hamilton.
But Hamilton is one where you'd probably put that into the really good ones category.
Yeah. So we sit down, and I remember she caught Patrick Page, because, of course, she knows Hadestown. But I remember right when Abuela died, and there's Alabanza, and... There's a joke about an intermission because, this is usually where the intermission hits. And he's like, y'all want a break? And I was like, nudged her, and I was like, intermission joke. She's like, intermission? It's not almost over? And I was like, oh. And we left. She's like, it was fine. About an hour too long. And I'm like, really?
I can see it, though, because there is not very much going on.
Yeah.
I didn't personally feel like it went too long, but I could see someone having that take.
I didn't feel the length at all, honestly.
Can I just throw out there that lore-wise, Abuela's death and Jacob's Ladder tie together?
Do we compare? Are we comparing everything to Jacob's Ladder again? I thought we canceled that after
We're not
episode 50.
Not canceling it. We're going back to it. She dies, and the first thing she does is come out of a subway, which is literally the opening to Jacob's Ladder. So, just throwing it out there. Mm-hmm. I'm just saying.
Just saying, hypothetically.
They even do the thing where you can see her dying, in real life, and then also her dying in the fantasy world, which Jacob's Ladder also does simultaneously. It's the same lore, and Abuela is not going to be having a good time for the next couple weeks. Mm-hmm. Until she goes to heaven with Macaulay Culkin.
Before we go into a mid-show, we've now covered the 3 Lin-Manuel Miranda musicals. We've done it, kids. Andrew, I know it was very early in our run, but can you rank them in order right now? Between Hamilton, 21 Chump Street, and this.
Am I ranking only the stage show for this, or do I count the movie too?
Stage show alone.
Okay. I think I'm going to have to do it. I think I actually would change the rating based on the movie. I think I would go Hamilton at the top, 21 Trump Street, and then the stage show of this. And then if we ranked the movie Hamilton on top, the movie, and then 21 Jump Street.
Wow. Well, that's interesting. But we're going to talk about the songs when we come back.
We interrupt this program to bring you a special report.
Hello, this is Jess from the future to interrupt your podcast already in progress. So I meant to bring this up in the initial recording, but forgot, so I'm adding it here now. I was able to interview the screenwriter of In the Heights, and she also wrote the book, the original musical, Chiara Allegrida Hudes, who is wonderful, by the way. But in my interview, I was able to sneak in asking her what her cheese rating would be for In the Heights. And I think I should add it in here so it can be public record and added onto the official cheese rating list made by Juliet Antonio, our keeper of the cheese. So take a listen to this clip of when I interviewed the screenwriter of In the Heights. All right. I think I could squeeze in one more question here. I'm really appreciative of your time. And don't worry, this is not going to be a real question. What is your favorite cheese? I run a podcast called Musicals with Cheese, and I love getting people's opinions on cheese.
I was like, musicals with cheese? ¿Qué ejemplo? I'll tell you what, there is, on the best date nights I've ever had, my husband and I have splurged and gone to El Comento, a very fancy hotel in Old San Juan. And they have a cheese hour. And on their patio, a slice of aged Manchego cheese is just about perfection.
That is as good an answer I think I could ever have asked for. My goodness. That was great. Since I have a little bit of free time, what cheese would you equate with In the Heights? Just a rating of cheese, like if you had to compare it to it.
Ooh. Probably like an oozy shredded cheese that's just like sprinkled on everything and gets into all the good stuff.
Wow, isn't that neat? All right, time to get back to the show already in progress.
Today's show is brought to you by the extremely kind donations by our donors at Patreon. You can go to Patreon to donate to us and help us keep the lights on and help us put out some good content for you all. We also have additional content on Patreon, like commentaries and Patreon with Cheese, which is an occasional show where we cover TV shows and other musical-related things. And we, of course, have a pretty large backlog on there. We also do monthly meetups with our patrons as well. Our current patrons are Melissa Goldman, Terry Needleman, John Donna, Lighton Ackles, Danielle Renix, Jess the Stampede, Ewan Cassidy, Taskier, Fire of September, Monica Thoreau, Mina Maneri, Brent Black, Haley Murray, B-Way Flicks, Nathaniel Stacy Coombe, Joseph Evans Green, Carrie Ahern, Mary Lou Choquette, John Vanals, Heck You I Go By Elijah Now, Russ Walker, Musical Hell, Emily Gracie, Andrew Van Barson, to Blam, Kyle Summers, Janae C., Christina Francis, Scoot in the Technicolor Dreamcoat, Felice R., Liz Lim, Allison Stuller, Nothing Is Certain Except Beth and Taxes, John Vanals, Thespian, Ren Cullen, Wait in the Wings, Spectacle Machine, Jacob Stroop, Rafael Martinez Salas, Robert Benjamin, Rochelle T., Jessica T., Genevieve Hartnett, Cass, Mitchell Young, Chai Teacup, Hayden Wilder, Katie McDonough, Timothy Keys, Jeffrey Machado, Jacuse, Toon Van Essen, Jesse Taylor, R. Elliott, Chris Marquette, Alexandria Seng, Katie Turberg, Mimu, Kiji Marie Anastasio, Trevor Lopez, and Sierra Moncrief.
They all give extra financial support, and Andrew described very well what they get when they're joined. How about we go on to the songs, Andrew?
I think we can do that.
That was Abuela, she's not really my abuela, but she practically raised me. This corner is her escuela now. You're probably thinking, I'm up Schitt's Creek.
I've never been north of 96th Street.
Well, you must take the A train. Even farther than Harlem to Northern Manhattan and maintain. Get off at 181st and take the escalator. I hope you're writing this down, I'm gonna test you later. I'm getting tested, times are tough on this bodega. 2 months ago, somebody bought Ortega's. Our neighbors started packing up and picking up, and ever since the rent went up, it's gotten mad expensive, but we live with just enough.
In the Heights, I flip the lights and start my day. There are fights and less debts and bills to pay. In the Heights, I can't survive without cafe. But tonight seems like a million years away.
That opening number, though, right? That opening number's fantastic.
That opening shot was like really good. No, In the Heights is probably one of the best, not the best, because I think, I don't know, if we're just counting songs, it might be the best, like music-wise. It's very catchy.
It is very, very catchy, and like when I took my girlfriend to see it, that's the only song she could hum at the end, which, if you count that for anything, that's what you get.
Da-da-dun, dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun. It's pretty good.
And it strangely doesn't pop up very much throughout the rest of it. It's not like a recurring thing.
Which it probably should have been, but I guess it doesn't have to be. It's fine.
I will say, like, the bouncy kind of more Dominican style hits better than, like, the ballads, which feel a little generic in this musical.
Yeah, I think Lin-Manuel Miranda's best stuff is usually the bouncier, like,
Yeah.
you know, I don't know if you'd call it rap in this, but kind of.
Hip-hop, kind of.
Yeah, hip-hop style.
Yeah, it feels alive. It feels in a way. Whereas, as much as I know people love Breathe a ton. Breathe, which is Nina's song about, like, how she won't live up.
Mira, Nina, hey, no me preocupo por ella. They're not worried about me. Mira, ahí está nuestra estrella. They are all counting on me to succeed. Ella sí da la talla. I am the one who made it out. The one who always made the grade. But maybe I should have just stayed home. When I was a child, I stayed wide awake, climbed to the highest place on every fire escape, restless to climb. I got every scholarship, saved every dollar, the first to go to college. How do I tell them why? I'm coming back home with my eyes on the horizon. Just me and GWB. Asking Nina, what'll you be?
I think the song Breathe is, like, not really delivered on in the movie. The visuals are great. There are fantastic visuals throughout it. I just think the actress, she gives me Vanessa Hudgens in High School Musical vibes.
Too smiley.
Yeah, almost like the girl from The Prom who is smiling throughout every situation.
Yeah.
Don't particularly buy her in most scenes. But the actress playing Vanessa is fantastic.
Are there just directors out there that are like, it's a musical, smile, come on.
Dad, I was searched at school.
Oh boy. It's like a
And I
it's like
get
a jungle
that
up
is
here.
a choice, but it just doesn't feel engaging. And the struggles that she's supposed to be going through, I don't quite feel in the movie because of that performance.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, yeah. I can definitely, I wasn't paying too much attention to that. And I didn't have much in the movie. I didn't have any expectation that she would be like the lead, where arguably she is in the stage show. So,
She gets the I Want song. She gets the second song in the musical.
yeah. So, yeah. I don't think Breathe is a great number, though, honestly. And I don't blame her for not performing it that well, since I don't think it was really that great to begin with.
I love Breathe as an idea. Like, as a song on its own, it's great. And I've heard it before. I saw it in context, and I think it is a song alone with what I imagined it was about. It is better than what it is in context.
Yeah.
Let's talk about No Me Diga, which is a fun as fuck number about gossip. Come on!
Gorgeous, linda, tell me something I don't know. Vieja, sucia, cabrona, tell me something I don't know. A little on the top, a little on the side. A little bit of news you heard around the barrio. Tell me something I don't know.
Bueno, you didn't hear this from me, but some little birdie told me Usnavi had sex with Yolanda. No me diga. I know.
This is the new Pick a Little Talk a Little here.
It's pretty good. This is the Tell Me Something I Don't Know song.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a very fun one, and I like that they have that serious turn like halfway through. Like when they finally do get something they didn't know, and they're like, "Oh,
Yeah.
oh shoot."
Oh no! And that's how we, the audience, learn it. So we have the same reaction.
Yeah, it's good. It's good. It's a very fun number.
How do you think it was done in the movie? Because that's one of the times where they embrace just fantasy. They make the wig heads dance and
The
shit.
wig head scared me
Really?
a little bit. I wasn't expecting it fully, and then it happened, and I was like, "Oh, whoa!" I do like that they kind of have the set also react to the bad news. Like it's like the room itself is a character that's like, "Oh, that's bad news."
I do want to say about the movie, I do like the kind of moving of "It Won't Be Long Now" to after "Tell Me Something" or "No Me Diga." Because then we set up Vanessa, where she works and all that, before we go into her and what she wants. I feel like that sets her up more strong. Because of course we do introduce her in the Heights song where
We
she's like,
introduce
no,
everybody
no.
Yeah.
We introduce her kind of basic wants, and then we show where she works, and then we show like her goals, which I think all that works so much better in the movie, structurally.
Yeah. Well, I think there's a lot of stuff in the movie that they fixed structure-wise, so.
If only they had casted it better.
Yeah. What are you gonna do?
96,000.
Real though, imagine how it would feel going real slow down the highway of life with no regrets and no breaking your neck for respect or a paycheck. For real though, take a break from the wheel and we'll throw the biggest block party, everybody here. A weekend where we can breathe, take it easy.
Yo, mom, it's me. Check my ticket. Check 1, 2, 3. What would you do with 96 G's? I mean, if it's just between you and me.
Esa pregunta es tricky.
I know.
With 96 G's, I'd start my life with a brand new lease. Atlantic City with a Malibu breeze.
And a brand new weave.
Or maybe just bleach.
The pool dance party?
I mean, it isn't in the musical, but it is in the movie.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like it's better as a pool dance party. But I think that's mostly because there's not that much being said in this number besides just like what each character would do if they won a bunch of money. And having that backdrop of everybody dancing at the pool makes it a lot better.
There were so many opportunities, like them using like the pool like entranceway as like ballet balance beams. That's amazing. The Bubsy Berkeley reference with Vanessa in the pool. My God! And when they go underwater for the tiptoe, and then no, and then when they come up, everyone's just up there dancing. My
Yep.
God!
It's
Holy
so good.
shit! It's so fucking good.
And it's taking a song that really just in the stage show. There's just not that much going on with it.
They're just on stage and they dance. It sounds incredible. Like on the stage show, it sounds great.
Yeah, but it sounds great in the movie too. Just sounds good. I like it. I don't love the plot device of just a winning lottery ticket. And I especially don't like how they did it in the stage show, where they just kind of like Abuela won it and they use it to give it to Usnavi. I don't know. I don't love that. I think it's better in the movie where it's like they even have the line where he's like, nobody ever turned it in. We never found out who won it.
Right.
I like that better. And then, I guess, spoilers, at the very end, he finds it, and Abuela gave it to him.
Yeah, which is better. That is a much better thing as a story, as a reveal.
And then he's actually using it for what he wants to use it for, rather than Abuela just being like, we should use it for this.
He thinks about using it for what he wants to, but then he discovers his actual need is to help Sonny and be a father figure to Sonny.
Yep.
That's why it's important. It's a better story. I'm sorry, guys. I know you all are real attached to this musical, but it is told better in the movie.
I'm just being honest with you. I'm straightforward here. I'm not even trying to defend. The movie's better. I don't care.
It's not better. It's different. And it is a great movie. As a movie.
It's a better story. It's told better.
I disagree, because then you're missing all the like race stuff with Benny and Nina and her father, and you're losing a lot there. So I can't say it's better.
Just because you lose stuff doesn't mean it's not better.
You lose good stuff.
But you gain better stuff.
You gain different stuff.
You gain better stuff.
Patience Fe, which is an okay song in the musical, an amazing sequence in the movie.
Sharing double beds, trying to catch a break, struggling with English. Listening to friends, finally got a job working as a maid. So we cleaned some homes, polishing with pride, scrubbing the whole of the Upper East Side. The days into weeks, the weeks into years, and here I stay. And as I feed these birds, my hands begin to shake. And as I say these words, my heart's about to break. And I, Mama, what do you do when your dreams come true? I've spent my life inheriting dreams from you. I made it through. I survived. I did it.
This is the highest point of the entire show in the movie, and it is so disappointing in the stage show that it's not even close.
It's just another I want number for another female lead. Think about it just like that. It's no different than It Won't Be Long Now or Breathe.
It's actually really sad in the movie. Like, it's really good. It's like, here's this character that in the movie, you haven't even seen that much of her. You just kind of know that she's like the mother figure. And then her like last moment is that they like walk her over to bed because it's getting hot, and she's singing to herself about everything she's been through and looking at the younger people in her life and is like, I think I'm done here.
Like, they can figure themselves out, which is, it's more heartbreaking. And honestly, I am much more affected by someone being surrounded by their loved ones, being distracted and smiling, watching them be together, as opposed to someone dying off screen.
Yeah.
Off stage.
Yeah, it's just, the death is just kind of like, oh, I guess she's dead. I mean, I don't know. If this wasn't in the movie, I probably wouldn't have such a strong feeling that the movie is better. But because
really,
it is,
so this scene alone makes it.
This scene alone is like the most powerful scene in the movie, and it's like in the stage show, it's just not there. It just isn't there.
And I will say, I do appreciate the movie bringing back the actress who played her on the Broadway show, and her knocking out of the park in the movie just as much,
if not more so, because of the recontextualization.
Hell yeah. I think it's good. And Abuela leaves more of an impact with less of her in it, as strange as that is.
Well, yeah, because otherwise, I mean, what is her impact in the stage show? She
won a lottery.
She won the lottery, and she's like convincing Uznavi to do something that even in the show, he realizes he doesn't want to do. Like, she's literally a bad influence, contextually.
Yeah. I love the blackout scene in both. I think it's really well done in the musical. I think it's really well done in the film.
It's good in both. It's about the same in both. They kind of do the same things.
It's a knockout scene, but do you remember who got in the fight in the stage musical?
I don't. Who was it?
It was between Benny and Nina in the stage musical, and then they just took that fight and made it between Usnavi and Vanessa, so they actually have some tension in their relationship.
That's right. Actually, you're right.
And I didn't realize that until I rewatched it just today. I was like, oh.
But I kind of feel like it helps a lot, though, because otherwise, like, Usnavi and Vanessa's relationship is just so boring.
Yes, it is. Although I will admit they did kind of remove a lot of the characteristics of Vanessa in the movie. Like, I feel like she had more personality but less desire in the musical. But in the movie, they kind of gave her a goal but took away, like, specific moments that kind of characterized her more.
Yeah, although I personally would prefer a goal over particular quirks.
I miss the quirks, though. I kind of miss the quirks.
Sure.
I wish we could have had both.
I mean, yeah, I'm not saying that we couldn't have had both. I'm just saying if we could only have one, I'd rather have the goals.
I agree. But Here's another thing about the movie. I disagree about Benny and Nina fighting at all. I really don't think that works. I love in the movie that Benny is kind of always on Nina's side. The idea that Benny and Nina get into a fight because her dad's gonna sell the business to pay for her college education. Do you really think that I like the fact that he's basically listens to Nina and talks to her. There's that argument scene where he backs Nina up.
Yeah, why would he fight Nina instead of fighting with his employer who is selling the business?
Because it's her fault that he's gonna lose his job.
It's like, no, it's not. It's your employer's fault for selling the business. Like, it doesn't matter why he's doing it. The fact that he's doing it is what's causing you to lose the job.
And also, it makes more sense for Usnavi and Vanessa to fight since Usnavi is basically acting like a douche canoe.
Yeah, which is still in the stage show. He still does that.
Yes, it is.
But they don't fight about it.
They just kind of stop talking for a bit. Like, do they even have another scene before champagne happens?
I don't remember, but I don't think so.
That's lame. It makes more sense for them not to talk to each other. They have This movie made a lot of choices.
Yeah.
And it's good to not be angry at the movie, to be angry at the musical. That makes a little bit less sense.
Can we get a stage adaptation of the movie?
You make good point. Carnaval de Barrio. This scene is so much fun. I love it. It's great in the movie. It's great in the musical.
Carnaval del Barrio. Carnaval.
Carnaval
del Barrio.
Barrio.
Carnaval del Barrio.
Barrio.
We don't need electricidad. Get off your butt, avanza. Saca la maraca, bring your tambourine. Come and join the parranda. Hey! Carnaval del Barrio. Carnaval del Barrio. Carnaval del Barrio. Carnaval del Barrio.
Me, Danny, I have a question. I don't know what you're cantando.
Just make it up as you go. We are improvisando. You can sing anything. Carla, whatever comes into your head, just so long as you sing.
Oh, my mom is Dominican Cuban. My dad is from Chile and PR, which means I'm Chile Dominican.
Yeah, it's fun. I feel like it's more impactful in the movie. For me, it was anyways.
Explain, because I was going to make the opposite argument, so I want to hear your...
The movie has much more focus on this gentrification angle and, like, the businesses being driven out of the Washington Heights area by these overpriced, like...
Patrick Pages.
Yeah. And I feel like this celebration of the culture right as they're leaving and not coming back has more power there, where those themes are more present.
I agree. And I like that Usnavi doesn't just show up like, I got money, I'm going away, fuck y'all.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's bad in the stage show. I just personally felt like it had more impact in the movie. And I mean, this entire episode has just been me saying that I think the movie improved nearly everything. And
I'm trying to fight you a good majority of the time. There is one part of this song that's in the movie that I think is bad. Not because of anything the movie does, but what it doesn't do.
Sure. What's that?
Where they're like, hey, you and Nina had sex, Benny. And they're like, what? And I'm like, why have that there if we don't see them having sex? Like, is that a big... It wouldn't feel like a big deal if we
honestly
had seen it.
It felt a little bit awkward to me anyways, because it seemed like everyone knew that they were dating anyways, so it's like, why care?
Exactly. It feels weird in the movie, like, because we don't have a scene, and it feels like they've kind of been official, like, even before she left.
Yeah, so it's like, is this really news? Like,
yeah. A couple that are dating have had sex? What? I would have just cut that verse a bit.
Yeah.
Or kind of...
It was probably like they didn't think about their own changes in that one instance. Like, they just kind of were like, well, that's the lyrics of the song, so...
But I disagree, because they change all of Usnavi's lyrics because he doesn't have the lottery. But they keep that... It makes me think maybe they shot Sunrise and then they cut it because it's like, well, Grandma died, we just sang Alabanza, and now we're just cutting to them fucking.
Yeah, fair enough.
I don't know. It bothers me in the movie. Even when I saw the movie like first, I was like, that feels wrong. That feels like a weird thing to say when we don't even show it.
I wonder if it also has more impact because it happens after Alabanza in the movie.
I can imagine that being distracting.
I don't know about distracting. It feels like there's more stuff that is happening that's kind of tearing the neighborhood apart. So having this like everybody come together moment is more impactful.
All right. I know I always do this and I pitch better versions of scenes to you.
Sure.
So we have Abuela dies. We have Alabanza where everyone's crying and singing all that during the blackout. And then we just cut to Benny and Nina hugging each other. We cut to Carla and Daniela hugging each other, and Usnavi going to bed alone and all that, and all of them going to bed together. Carla and Daniela as the established, older, long-term couple that just kind of like hold each other quietly, and Benny and Nina as the like, I need you right now, and they kind of get intimate, and we get the implication of that without having the sunrise scene. And then Usnavi and Vanessa crawling into bed alone. Like, Usnavi just broken, Vanessa heartbroken and all that, and sad about Abuela. That scene could have worked. And then you could have paid it off later with the having a roll in the hay.
Yeah. Sure. I will agree.
Yep. Okay. What, you don't think that would have been good? You don't see that working?
I could see it working. I don't know if it's necessary. I don't know.
Just cut the line and
cut the line and we're all good.
Yeah, a little bit. When the sun goes down, the dancing on the building scene from the movie.
I go back on Labor Day,
and I will try to make my way out west to California. So we've got the summer,
and we've got each other, perhaps even longer.
When you're on your own and suddenly without me, will you forget about me?
I couldn't if I tried.
When I'm all alone and I close my eyes, that's when I'll see your face again. And when you're gone, you know that I'll be waiting when you're gone.
I don't know about the song itself, because it's just kind of like a love song, it seems like.
It's like their third love song in this musical, because we have
I feel like part of the reason why I don't care that they cut so much of Nina and Benny is because they don't have any songs that mean anything besides they just love each other.
When You're Home, I really like. I think they do that very well in both versions.
Yeah.
And When the Sun Goes Down, both of those kind of feel like the same song to me.
Yeah. I'm glad that they were able to make use of it to make a very cool dancing on the building scene.
Because what else could you do?
Yeah. But outside of the very cool visuals, this song doesn't bring very much to the table.
It's the 11 o'clock number, too. It's the song before the finale, which also baffles me.
Yeah. Which kind of says a lot about how little there is going on plot-wise, that these two characters singing about how they love each other again for like the third time is the 11 o'clock number.
Yeah. Yeah.
In the movie, they don't have any songs, but they kind of add a bunch of stuff, like not songs, but book stuff in between that and the finale, though. Because this song happens, and then Usnavi has the whole, like, Vanessa, he's about to leave, and Vanessa brings him into the shop, and all that kind of stuff happens.
Yeah, but we also have the sunny stuff. I think that is what happens before When the Sun Goes Down and the finale.
Yeah, the sunny stuff.
But
adds a lot, too.
also, they move When the Sun Goes Down to be before Champagne in the movie,
which makes a lot more sense.
Yes, I agree, but also it's tomato. Champagne is a good song in the movie.
Usnavi,
Yeah.
before you go leave town, before the corner changes and the signs are taken down.
fine. I'm trying to open this champagne. You see, the twisty thing is broken, but I'm gonna open this damn champagne.
Let me see it.
Nah, I got it.
Yo, ooh, snobby, drop the champagne.
I mean, you went through all this trouble to get us a little bubbly.
And it's gonna be okay.
I'm sorry. It's been a long day.
It's shot live. They do it all in one take, and it works. You didn't even notice it. It didn't throw your eye off. It didn't throw your ear off.
They did good with it.
Just rewatch that scene and know it's shot all in one take and live. And think, wow, Tom Hooper could have done something like this with Les Mis and chose not to.
Well, he could have if he hired singers.
Yeah. Imagine that. These are all like singers. It's great. It's great. What did you think of the finale changes between the movie and the musical?
Which changes do you mean specifically?
Well, the finale in the musical is just like, hey, he drew a painting of Abuela, and like a new Snavi's like, hey, I'm gonna stay here now.
So you mean like the reasons why they're staying, and I mean, it's much better. The only complaint I do have is the same complaint you brought up, which is just like, oh, they had kids and got married, which is like such a cliche. Like, did we really have to do that? I mean, I don't hate it because it's cliche, but it's like, you know, that is a lot of people's happy ending, and that's fine. But it's a little bit tacked on. It's a little bit like, why do we do that?
I like them kissing under the fire hydrants. I will say the hydrants are open, cool breeze. That musical element works better when he's telling the story to the kids and he just sees like his entire block there, like beckoning him. That's an incredible cinematic moment. I think that works very, very well. Better than the musical where it just kind of you hear these distant voices.
And I think the like framing device and that being broken in the finale is a good touch too.
It doesn't feel like a lie, honestly. It's one of those times where it just kind of feels like, we didn't want to spoil it for you.
They didn't want to spoil it, and it's like in his head, that is what this is. You know, that he is at his doing his father's dream in his own way. So it's like, you know.
Yeah. I agree. Andrew, this has been a great talk, but what is your overall thoughts on In the Heights and your cheese rating?
I mean, I've been really positive to the movie, which makes probably seem like I like really, 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 really loved it. But it was fine. I don't dislike it in any real way, but I wish they could do this, like what they did with this show, with a better musical.
Better musicals.
Like, I wish this was done with, like, Les Mis, or this was done with, not Cats. I don't care about Cats. Honestly, this is better than even if the best version of Cats. But, I don't know. I really like all the structural changes they made, and I do personally think, and I'm sure I'll get a lot of fan backlash, but I do personally think that the movie is better, structure-wise and story-wise. And I really like a lot of the visuals stuff that it does. And you can watch the movie right now. So
on HBO Max.
Because you should support good musical movies being made.
What do you think? How do you think this guy will do with Wicked?
I think he's probably going to do a very good job if he. I mean, assuming that everything that made this good was his decisions, which I suppose we can assume in some way, then I think he's going to do a very good job.
I think so too.
Your
cheese rating.
Let's see. I'm gonna just look up something here and see if it's good. Yeah, I don't. I'm getting some news that there's something called Caribbean Cheddar, but I'm not sure if that's an appropriate name. Where's the Dominican Republic located?
West Indies, I think.
I have no idea.
Maybe I'm dumb. I have no idea.
I'm
We are boring whites. We are the whitest of the whites.
I wish I did know where these things were. It is in the Caribbean. Okay. Caribbean cheddar, baby. Yeah, it's next to... Oh, it's on the same island as Haiti. I should have known that already, because that's like right next to America, or the United States of America. But I'm American, so my education system has failed me miserably.
All right. I love In the Heights. I really like the musical. I really enjoyed the film. There are things I love about both of them and things that I dislike about both of them. And there are some good choices made in the film and some choices I don't agree with. And there's some things I miss from the musical and some things I think are better without. They are both very complicated things I think are on par with one another. It is a perfect musical and a perfect movie version of a musical. I don't think you could make it any better except for the parts I mentioned before. So my cheese rating is a macaroni and cheese bake from a place called Alabanza Catering Company. I did it, everybody.
I did it. I won.
I won the cheese rating.
And
Alabanza.
yeah. Check out the movie and or stage show that doesn't being aired.
You know who should check out the movie and or stage show?
Our patrons?
Our wonderful patrons. Thank you guys for listening. Please follow us on iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, and Musicals with Cheese. We're on Twitter at Cheesy Musicals. We're on Patreon at Musicals with Cheese, Instagram Musicals with Cheese, YouTube page Musicals with Cheese. We have a Patreon-only podcast called Patreon with Cheese. Email us at musicaltheaterlives@gmail.com. Our title card was created by the amazing Jolene Casco. Go send her some love at Jolene Casco. Our keeper of the cheese is Juliet Antonio. This show is produced by the incredible, the amazing, the wonderful Brianna Jones. We miss you so much, Bri. Please come back next week. Thank you to the Broadway Podcast Network for having us on the platform and for not kicking us off. All right, Andrew, is there anything else you want to say before we wrap this up?
We love you all and have fun.
In the Heights.
In the Heights.
We'll see you next time on Musicals with
In Washington
Cheese. $96,000. We'll get the dough and you'll never know. We'll get the dough and you'll never know the step.